Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here today to discuss about the AEW Dynamite May 19th, 2021 review. This episode is alright. It wasn't nothing great and nothing stood out heavily. There was some good build up towards the pay-per-view of Double or Nothing. There's also a special episode taking place on Friday night, May 28th at 10 p.m. right after SmackDown. I don't know how the hell I'm going to be able to review both. I will definitely try to go forth and do that. I wish Dynamite was not on Friday night, but I think it had something to do with the NBA playoffs, more than likely. But bottom line, guys, I gotta say the show wasn't terrible. It was alright. There was some good wrestling overall. Nothing too shabby about it. I mean, it wasn't, anything spectacular, anything like that. But it was still a decent show nonetheless. The tag team titles were defended in the main event with the Young Bucks going up against the Varsity Blondes. And the Varsity Blondes put up a decent fight, but unfortunately lost the match by submission, and a lot of basically shenanigans took place. Hairspray was used. I don't know what the fuck the Young Bucks are trying to do, but they are really overdoing this heel act very badly. They look like fucking Motley Crue. All they need is some fucking eyeliner shit and start looking like Motley Crue, and I will be flat out with you guys. I will not care for the Young Bucks anymore. I will absolutely hate their fucking guts. I do not like their fucking new look. They look like a fucking Motley Crue group. And I hate Motley Crue. I'm very much like Metallica. Metallica's mentality back in the day when they started doing their thrash metal. One of the creators of thrash metal, by the way, Metallica said one thing that is the worst thing to possibly do is being a male and wearing makeup. If you wear makeup and you're in a rock band and you're a male, you're a fucking fag. And I totally agree with that. No offense to anyone who's a homosexual or anything, but if you're a male who's straight and you're wearing makeup, you're fucking a fag, okay? This is insulting to a straight guy. A straight guy should not be wearing that shit. If you're gay, well, then that's one thing. No offense to you, but my God, man, you should not be wearing that shit. Be perfectly honest with you. I don't care if you're gay or straight or not. No guy should be wearing makeup, period. It's not what guys do. I don't care if you're gay either. Just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't act like a man. Act like a woman. I mean, what the hell is the point in having a dick? Then you're basically a transvestite. Let's get off of that subject. I'm kind of going off course here. I really should be sticking with what I'm here to discuss. It's not about sexuality or sexual orientation or anything like that. It's about AEW Dynamite and what they had to offer here tonight. So, let's get into it, shall we? Let me find where the hell it is. Alright. Give me 1 second here. But anyway, Moxley and Eddie Kingston, they also came out here tonight, which was quite weird the way they came out with their entrance music. They came out with the entrance music as Wild Thing, which I actually was a little surprised by. I don't know why they're still using that gimmick or that song, but it's kind of strange. Personally, do I really care for it? Probably not. I mean, it's like listening to fucking the Major League with Charlie Sheen as the closing pitcher to the fucking for the Cleveland Indians. I mean, it's pretty fucking terrible. That I did not like. Let me just try to pull up a freaking thing here. I apologize again. I don't know what the deal is. We also had Christian Cage and Matt Sydal kick off the show here tonight. As the opener to the show, Matt Sydal and Christian Cage had a fantastic matchup to start off the show, and Christian Cage walked away with the victory. I was not disappointed with this. Christian Cage seems to be getting a little bit better with each match, but personally, I don't think he's needed to be there. He's not exactly, knocking down barriers or anything or really blowing anybody's mind. He's still moving somewhat slow in the ring, but getting a little bit better with his stamina, I think. But personally, I don't see any reason for him to be in the ring anymore. He's done everything he really needs to do. He's won world championships, at least in Impact Wrestling, multiple times. So, at the end of the day, guys, I don't know what we're expecting out of this Christian Cage run in AEW, but I don't particularly see this as anything important or something to get crazy over at all. After the match was over, Ricky Starks comes out in a suit, and he is his own man, basically, and he's gonna be front and center. He calls for the rest of the Team Taz to come out, and they do, but they attack Cage and Sydal from behind. Adam Page comes to the rescue out of nowhere and has Starks hold his beer. He gives a good fight, but soon hooks his leg, and it allows Brian Cage to powerbomb Page to smithereens. So we go to Varsity Blondes at this point. Brian Pillman Jr. notes that his late father's legacy didn't bring him into the wrestling business, but actually kept him away. Who brought goodness into wrestling for him? It was actually the Young Bucks. Griff also seconds that, and noting he once ran a merch table for the brothers. Well, now they've changed, and the Varsity Blondes, along with Julia Hart, to give the champs a reality check. Mox and Eddie believe that they gotta be making a dent in the tag team division. They are gonna beat the brakes of the Acclaim. Okay, whatever. The writing on this shit's pretty bad too. WrestleZone. Alright, so basically we see the Acclaimed, and they say to move up in the tag team division. Mox and Eddie have to go through them, and mic drop. Boom. This is the Acclaim talking about Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston and Moxley also cut their own promo, I believe, before the Acclaim. They mentioned that, hey, these guys are little fucking rappers, supposedly some rap guys. And he goes, what? What are you talking, rappers? These guys are rappers? Eddie Kingston's asking Moxley, these guys are rappers? I love the combination between Moxley and Eddie Kingston. I think it's very cool. But bottom line, you're not going to witness these two guys win the tag team titles. It can't happen. I don't want it to see it happen. It's not time for the Bucks to lose the tag titles against a team like Kingston and Jon Moxley. Everybody keeps complaining about tag team divisions in WWE. There's no real legit tag teams. Jon Moxley and Kingston are not tag team partners. They're not legit tag team partners. They became friends again. That does not make them a tag team. They were once at one point enemies, fighting over the World Heavyweight Championship in an I Quit match. Okay? These guys were tearing each other apart throughout the entire fall. Now you're going to tell me they're best friends and they deserve to be tag team champions? No, it ain't going to happen. This is just a matchup rivalry between these two guys. Moxley and Kingston are going to look great. They're going to get fucked over. So don't expect this to be a clean ending. There ain't going to be anything clean about it. This is going to be just like Brian Pillman Jr. and his partner losing this matchup in a screwjob finish. This is the same exact thing that is going to happen. There's going to be some shenanigans that take place during that match. If you believe that the Young Bucks are going to beat Eddie Kingston and Moxley clean, you're crazy. It ain't going to happen. The Young Bucks as heels, I got to admit, suck. I do not like it. I really don't. And I don't understand. And I've heard the news. I've heard the rumors. The Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes are not on talking terms. They are not speaking to each other about creative decisions on things in AEW. I mean, at the end of the day, Tony Khan does have the final word on everything, just like Vince McMahon does in WWE. But the bottom line is these guys all need to work as a unit. They can't be divided. This is not something that they need to be on different ends about. I mean, it's one thing to have difference of opinions on things creatively. It's another not to be speaking to each other and, knowing what to do creatively moving forward with your plans and everything. Now, unless Tony Khan's getting a hold of things and they don't have to speak to each other at all, whatever the case may be, I never really went in depth on the article when I saw it, but these guys are not talking to each other. They're vice presidents within the company. That's not good. I mean, I can imagine that's probably some of the things that happen in WCW. The big-time players that made decisions creatively outside of Ted Turner weren't talking, weren't communicating, and weren't doing things correctly. That's not good. So they aren't getting their shit together unless Tony Khan is making the right decisions, making the right moves, which clearly lately he has not. At least when it comes to the big match moments, he has not been able to do that. Creatively in building matches, things still seem pretty much the same as they have been from day one. They've done a good job building here and there. They're getting a little like NXT. They're trying to get that desperate rating pull with a major match while in the middle of a build going towards a pay-per-view and so forth. But they need to get their shit together. Seriously. So like I said, Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston came out with Wild Thing. Reminds me of fucking Charlie Sheen as the closing pitcher on Major League. God help us. I don't think they need to have that. I think it's kind of cool for Moxley because he is a wild thing. He's fucking crazy. But at the end of the day, I liked his old theme music when he came into AEW. He needs to go back to that theme music. I think it suits him a lot better. And they went up against the Acclaim. They beat the Acclaim with a wagon paradigm shift. Basically, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but Eddie Kingston had him by the legs. And I think it was Max Caster had him by the legs from behind, and then Moxley grabbed him by the head, put his arms in a double arm DDT, and did the paradigm shift to close out the move and get the 1, 2, 3. And that was the end of that match. Match overall was very entertaining. Good shit. Liked it a lot. Unfortunately, the Acclaim had to lose to Moxley and Kingston for this match to even take place, for the Young Bucks to go one-on-one in a tag team match for the tag titles. Like I said, they're not losing those tag titles. Alex Marvez is with Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko. Can't believe they actually shown Dean Malenko. But back in the day in WCW, Jericho cut a segment where he had more moves than Dean Malenko, which his gimmick was the 1,000 wrestling holds. And Jericho went beyond 1,000 wrestling holds, and they went all the way through while he was in the middle of a commercial, calling off all the moves he has. Which I thought was absolutely fucking funny, and one of the better segments in WCW back in the day. So anyway, moving on. So he wants the scoop on Stadium Stampede, but Jericho tells him he's gonna wait. He's got to wait, and he threatens him with the man of 1,000 holds. And then Dean Malenko throws out that whole thing I just stated about that segment back in the day in WCW. He says, I thought you had more moves than me. He says, I kind of lost a couple. So, yeah, you got the 1,000 holds. That was pretty fucking good. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are in the ring with Shivani, and they basically explain their reasons behind the fact why they did what they did. Scorpio Sky explains back when he was a kid, he loved the Stinger. He was a big-time fan, but as he's grown up, he thinks it's time for the Stinger to go home, go away. Know your place. You've done your time in pro wrestling. Get lost and let some other guys get to the top. Ethan Page then starts explaining his actions. He said that Sky already put Sting down and then recaps what happened over the course of the past couple of weeks. He then says he's here to take everything away from Darby Allin. The first thing was the TNT Championship, and next is more, and there's more to come to them taking things away from Darby Allin's life. That's pretty much that. This actually was announced later on the show, at the end actually, that Darby Allin and the Sting is going to go tag team together against Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page in a non-cinematic match, which will be in front of actual live fans. I actually like the idea. I think it will be a good match. The reasoning behind Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, I think, is absolutely fucking stupid, but hopefully they're not a legit tag team. This is just to get these two guys out of the way and be done with Sting and Darby Allin. That's what I'm hoping for. So, after the, he also states, Ethan Page, I forgot to mention, he says he will be the final nail in Darby Allin's coffin. Sting's music hits, and out comes the Icon on the stage. Darby Allin attacks Page and Scorpio Sky from behind with his skateboard, and they take it to their adversaries. Darby hammers away at Page with his skateboard as Sting clinches in the Scorpion Deathlock on Sky, who visibly taps out. The two cowards make haste, but Dark Order greet them on stage as they have a ball elsewhere. This whole Dark Order having beef with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, I don't understand why. Maybe I missed something while watching Dynamite recently the last couple of weeks. But is it me, or does it seem like Sting and Darby Allin should be part of the Dark Order in a more serious manner? I still say to this day that AEW should sign Sami Callihan as the new leader of the Dark Order. I think what he did in Impact Wrestling with OVE, Ohio versus Everything, was an excellent stable that he did. And it reminds me a lot of the Dark Order. Dark Order being such a bigger faction would be kind of outrageous, him being the leader of that group and turning them into complete savages. I think that would be a fucking great idea. More dark, sinister than what they were with Brody Lee. And before they even got Brody Lee, Brody Lee kind of made them a little bit soft, in my opinion. At first, he kind of came across like a hard-ass jerk, Vincent Man, comic relief kind of thing, making fun of Vince. And then just later moving into them just being a dominating faction. Eventually, Brody Lee, unfortunately, passing away and having to go away from wrestling for a while until he passed on. I'm not sure, really, how I feel about this. I think Sami Callihan, though, would be a great asset to the Dark Order in making them such a better stable than what they are now. Because right now, they are just fucking terrible. Really. They are not what they were when they first started. When they first started, they were amazing. I actually enjoyed their shit. So, MJF and the Pinnacle had a great segment. They were really fucking downright disrespectful in this restaurant. Looked like a very high-class restaurant. They're all sitting there drinking some wine, I believe. All of them were actually drinking wine. Wardlow grabbed a bottle of wine, drank the whole thing in one shot, basically. And then demanded for more, like he was a fucking pig. As if he was at a fucking medieval times feast. And acting like a disrespectful asshole who's got lots of money and acts like a lowlife at the same time. I guess that's how you could look at it. And MJF had this to say. He says, Max mocks Chris juvenile humor. He hopes he laughs himself silly. Well, he's messing with a guy who always gets the last laugh. Dax then says they should be building a legacy, but Chris is in their way. He's making a mockery of the business at this point, and a server walks in and Spears slams his head on the table because he demanded for some more wine, and the guy didn't come to him quick enough, so he smashed his head into the table. And then at that point, he apologized, took the wine bottle from him. Tully Blanchard threw him a stack of dollar bills. I don't know what kind of dollar bills he threw him. I think it might have been a couple of 20s or something like that, or maybe a couple $100 to say, hey, I apologize for my friend here. This should pay for the mess that we made here and all that. And basically, MJF is just basically all pissed. He's all war. He's full-fledged gonna kill the Inner Circle at Stadium Stampede. What he cut here was fantastic. He was great, very intense. The Inner Circle then cut their own promo, I believe, right after this, or a segment after another match. And Jericho is very good. Everyone from the Inner Circle had a chance to actually state their feelings about this whole thing and their opinion on doing the matchup. It was great. It was fucking fantastic stuff by both sides. The Pinnacle and the Inner Circle cut great promos to hype up this Stadium Stampede match. I really think with the Stadium Stampede, this whole event should be taking place in Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. That's really where it should be taking place. I mean, you want a full capacity, you want to be able to have that mega amount of fucking people. I guarantee you AEW could pull off about 20,000 people in that stadium and actually have it get sold, well, not sold out because it really holds like about 80,000 people, or at least something close to that number. But you get what I'm saying. They would be able to sell a lot of tickets with the amount of people they're allowed to have. They probably would sell out with that amount. I really think it should be taking place inside of a stadium the entire show. I was even stating that when I thought they were going with Blood and Guts. I thought Blood and Guts was going to actually take place at Double or Nothing, but that was not the case. You want to know the truth? Double or Nothing, Double or Nothing, Blood and Guts would have been fantastic with this stipulation that if the Inner Circle lost in Blood and Guts, they would have to disband. This would have left the whole ending so different and very hard to do, because then you're going ahead and leaving the entire Inner Circle with no option of not quitting, allowing Jericho to get thrown off the fucking cage, or you have Chris Jericho get turned on by Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara turns on everyone else, costing them the match, making them no longer exist, and he is part of the Pinnacle. That would be a fucking waste. What a fucking twist to a storyline. Sammy Guevara turns on the entire Inner Circle, joins MJF in the Pinnacle, and admits that MJF was right. Jericho is the reason why none of us can really get over. That is the reason why he did what he did and cost Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle, because they're not needed. He needs to be with a winning team, and he thinks Pinnacle is that. They could have done something like that. I would have been fine with that. A heel turn like that, with an ending like that, I would have been fine with it. You know, I would have been perfectly okay with it. It would have been a hell of a fucking twist. But they didn't go about that at all. They just had Sammy Guevara quit like a fucking pussy, and Jericho gets thrown off the top of a fucking cage regardless. So, that's my reasoning behind why I hated that fucking ending. But bottom line, guys, great promo by both sides on their segments. I really enjoyed it. Next up was Rebel versus Sheeta, and I'm surprised that Sheeta lost this match to Rebel, but there was a lot of shenanigans during this match. Brett Baker actually gets involved in the match, causes Sheeta to get distracted. But Sheeta actually walks away with the victory and still wins. So she didn't lose the match. I am incorrect. I apologize if I even said that. But yeah, Rebel lost to Hikaru Shida by a stretch muffler, and she taps out. Post-match, though, Brett Baker actually delivers a curb stomp on Sheena on the women's title. Love the fucking move. I hope she sticks with the curb stomp. She does it just as good as fucking Seth Rollins. I think that's great. I hope she does it. I hope she does it at the pay-per-view to win the fucking championship. I really do. So, we see last week Kenny is shown confronting Orange Cassidy as Doc Samson monitors, and they show Orange some footage. Kenny says as EVP, he cares about Orange's well-being. They need him to be a mascot of AEW, not a challenger for the world title. Don Callis presents OC with a deal to give up his right at AEW Double or Nothing for a match later on when he's completely healthy. Orange Cassidy just slowly tears the contract up and then tries to rip it again. Kenny tells Orange nothing went wrong with Pac's powerbomb, but that's wrestling. What's going to happen if he drives Orange down with a one-wing angel? It could be the end of his career. Heck, it could even be the end of his life. And Don presents him with another contract and rest and have a look at it before making a final decision. Already stated about Jericho and the Inner Circle. They come out, make their grievances about this, and they all cut their reasoning behind it. Their attitude is real simple. We are here for one thing and one thing only, to prove that we are the toughest sons of bitches walking in this company, and if we don't go ahead and accept this match, we are nothing more than a bunch of cowards like you guys. That's what Jake Hager, best fucking promo of the entire night. I actually liked that one. That was the best reasoning why they should accept this match. As much as it sounds dangerous to their faction to stay together, they have to take this match, because at the end of the day, when they first came up, those were their exact words. They are the baddest group in that company. No one's better than them. So, of course, they have to accept the match. It makes logical sense. Everything that Jericho went through, he says he went through it 100%. It was all worth it. 1,000%, excuse me. Ortiz stated he is definitely in this to kick some fucking ass. That's why he wants the Pinnacle. And Sammy Guevara, he basically said this: it don't matter what you guys say or do, as long as you're still around, we are going to continue to kick your ass. Now, my personal feelings on this is, why isn't the Pinnacle having a stipulation on them? Like, if they lose, they need to break up. There's only room for one. They can't have room for two. And only for the Inner Circle to put their group together to be on the line, their group to be on the line as a whole, and if they lose, they have to disband. The same should be applied to the Pinnacle. I personally feel that way. But I guess you could say it would make the match a little too predictable, I guess. Because the Pinnacle is not going to split up this early. Regardless of what it is, the Inner Circle are going to lose this match. Despite the fact of how much I really would like to see these guys actually win and keep the group together still, but that's not going to happen. This is really coming to the end for the Inner Circle. Shivani is backstage with Jade Cargill. He asks once more about her free agency. In comes Mark Starling once more. He says he wants to work for her, not have her work for him. He makes another pitch and she tells him to leave and she'll think about it. Would they please stop making Jade Cargill be hyped up to be with someone? She doesn't need a fucking manager. She doesn't need anyone to talk for her. I mean, this guy Mark Starling's like Robert Stone of fucking NXT. This is pathetic. She doesn't need that type of manager. She doesn't need any manager for that matter. So please, give it a rest. Red Velvet went up against Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. Nothing surprising here. Serena Deeb retained her championship with a Serenity Lock once more and made Red Velvet tap out. Pac is sick and tired of getting robbed by this company. He asked Marvez at Double or Nothing, what fool bets against the bastard at Double or Nothing, huh? And that's pretty much that. I would. I'll take Kenny Omega, thank you. He's probably a favorite if there was an actual Las Vegas betting on this. Austin Gunn went up against Anthony Ogogo. I wish Anthony would go away, because he absolutely fucking sucks. So he actually goes ahead and continues to, he literally goes ahead and punches his Austin Gunn in the gut several times in this matchup to ultimately make the referee have to stop the match by referee stoppage with the punch to the gut. Big whoop. Nothing there. You're not missing nothing. That was a shit match. Post-match, Ogogo grabs hold of the American flag, but Cody and Orton come in, and there's a confrontation between the two factions, but it gets settled down as Ogogo holds up the Union Jack. Okay. Marvez is with the now broken up SCU, and he asks Daniels what his future holds after a cryptic tweet. Christopher and Daniels embraces Kaz, says something, and walks off. Kazarian says whatever Chris decides is his decision. Kaz is deciding to go after the Elite, and they're going to hear the gospel of Frankie Kazarian. And that's pretty much that. That should be pretty interesting. Kazarian on his own, going after a major group like the Elite. He might have an allies with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. That might be a good idea to put those three together to work as a unit for the time being as they try to take down the Elite. I think that would be a great idea for a temporary thing. Miro comes out. I almost said Morrow. Whatever. Miro comes out after the commercial break, and he thanks Jesus for protecting him, and he thanks Jesus for giving him the strength and power to dominate other superstars. He did what Darby thought he couldn't do. Darby disrespecting him, but it's okay. He forgives him, and now he can just go home and make one of his silly student videos. He's the champ now, and nobody is going to stop him at this point. Next week, he's going to defend his TNT Championship next Friday, but out comes Lance Archer and Miro, and Jake the Snake Roberts, So Lance Archer basically makes a challenge at Double or Nothing for the TNT Championship. Miro states that, you may have failed last year trying to accomplish and win the TNT Championship, but here's the bottom line. My first chance at the TNT title didn't fail at capturing the title. I dominated and took the title from my opponent. And at so Lance Archer, he goes ahead and he says that he's going to put Miro on the ground and make him his Bulgarian bitch at this point. That's pretty much what they have to say. Miro threatens Jake Roberts. Miro agrees that everybody dies, but insists Lance Archer is going to be first. It revealed that Date Martin will be Miro's opponent for next Friday. Nothing special there. The title should stay with fucking Miro at that point, before he goes into Double or Nothing against Lance Archer. The Varsity Blondes and the Young Bucks in the main event for the tag team titles. Nothing really changed here. As I already mentioned, the Young Bucks retain the tag team titles, ending their matchup with some shenanigans with the fucking hairspray blinding their opponents several different times throughout the match. There was a springboard facebuster while Brian Pillman was in a sharpshooter, and he literally taps out after being having his face smashed into the mat. Post-match, though, Moxley and Eddie Kingston come out to beat down the Bucks. Sleeper on the brothers, and both are out cold as Eddie and Moxley stand tall to steal their shoes, their sneakers, their Nike sneakers, and it's official. Moxley and Kingston versus the Bucks at Double or Nothing for the tag team titles. Before they go off the air, they go through the listing of different matches that are taking place for Double or Nothing, and that's when the show closes and we go to black. So that's pretty much your overall Dynamite show. Was this a great show? No, of course not. Was it a decent show that built towards the pay-per-view? Yes, it did. It did a very decent job doing that. Couple of things I want to note. I am a little ticked off that Miro and Lance Archer is taking place so soon. I think this deserves a little bit of a build. This is really not a build at all. This kind of puts Miro in a corner as well as Lance Archer. Neither one of these guys can afford a loss. Miro just got the title, and Lance Archer has been on a terrible losing streak, and I think a couple of wins here and there he's gotten throughout the entire AEW Dynamite, but literally, guys, he has got no momentum. He's not going to win the title, and why put him in that kind of situation where once again he's going to challenge for the championship and ultimately lose once again? There is no reason for that. Miro should have had another opponent to go up against at Double or Nothing, or just not have Miro on Double or Nothing at all. Just have him defend the damn title next week on Friday, and that's it. And call it a day. That's my only complaint about the build towards Double or Nothing is the TNT Championship match. But overall, the card looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to actually buy the pay-per-view or not. I'll have to see how my finances are. But one way or another, I will be able to catch this show and give you guys my feelings on the entire event from start to finish, and just give you guys my overall insight on the pay-per-view as a whole. So at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great night, guys. Bye.